My name is Victoria Chisache-Kanobe. I work for UNESCO ICBA as the Senior Program Coordinator for Capacity Development for Education, but I'm also the focal point for the KIX Hub on behalf of the consortium partners. I know that my colleagues, Jaji from the African Union and Bayfit should be online joining us for this very meeting. And I also want to recognize the presence of Joy Nafungo, our focal point from IDRC Nairobi, who is also present on this call. And I recognize all your participation and in all your different capacities. May I say all protocol observed. Please allow me to switch off my video because I'm oscillating between two screens and I'll be reading a few things. But otherwise, thank you very much for joining us for this meeting. As you might be aware, this meeting has been organized basically to introduce and engage all our country focal points and representatives to let you know about the upcoming capacity building and learning activities that we are preparing, and also to familiarize all our country representatives with a number of evaluations and assessments that we are doing and their purposes thereof, and also to bring you up to speed because this is our year. Almost we've made a year, by the way, since we commenced the KIX Hub. So I want to let you know about what we are doing in terms of making sure that we can report and showcase some results that we've been able to do in this first year. So we want to thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We don't want to take a lot of time, but we are hoping that by the end of this meeting, we've identified some specific needs and thematic areas to make sure that we are more relevant to meet your needs. But also we are hoping that we are able to, you have a full understanding of the KIX project baseline assessment and how it can help us to later on provide a benchmark for the upcoming evaluations. I don't want to go through a lot about the countries because I believe that all of you know that the KIX Africa 19 Hub is being implemented in 18 countries in Africa, mainly that are Anglophone speaking. And just to go back to the program that Marianne has shared with us on the screen, we will have begun with a bit of welcome from the Secretariat, representing the Secretariat and the consortium partners. And we'll hear from Marianne, who will give a presentation on the, and then we'll have some feedback. And then we also will announce the plans that we have for the Communities of Practice Learning series that are going to commence very, very soon, that involve all of us, the consortium partners. Some are going to be led by ICBA, others are going to be led by UNICEF, others are going to be led by the African Union. And then she also took, the team will also present baseline assessment results, purposes and parts for that. And then eventually we'll get to hear from you through the different dialogues. So without much ado, allow me to just hand over to Marianne to proceed. Over to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Victoria. Is my screen still visible? You can see that, right? Okay, just making sure. Yes, thank you, Victoria, for that. As was mentioned, this is an update meeting. We are very happy to welcome you all here today to hear about some updates in the KIX Hub, as well as to look at assessments a bit. So what we mean by that, both the assessments that you have been very graciously engaging in to help us better understand you and your priorities, as well as one that we would like to tell you about that we're going to be conducting to even better understand how we can assist and look at ways to build up the hub. We have just finished the first project year, and this is the very beginning of the second project year. So it's a good time to meet, to regroup, and to touch base with you all and keep developing our relationships. So again, you're welcome to this meeting today. I want to let you know how important your feedback has been to the hub so far. This is just a few of your quotes that you have been sharing through the Country Pulse survey. We have also been reading your feedback, compiling reports on your feedback from the assessment webinar that was 1 month ago. But this is just a few examples of some of the feedback that you've been sharing with us. Your feedback has been read, it's been listened to, and it's shaping the work that we do here in the hub. And so the assessments that you take, they really do matter. So as you can see, you have specifically requested for more action, capacity building, the need to train focal points, country representatives. These are just some of the many comments that we've received. And we're working to incorporate all of that and to improve the work that we do. So my point on lingering on this is that the feedback that you give us through assessments is very, very important, and it shapes everything that we do. And just speaking personally, being a teacher, I know that there are many teachers, people with teaching experience in this Zoom room today and in the hub. We know how important formative assessment is. So when you do respond to surveys, when you do take part in these assessments, it's like our formative assessment along the way. And it really does help us to better meet your needs. So I want to also propose how we're going to use your feedback now. We are proposing a communities of practice model to build institutional capacity strengths in your identified priority areas. So you know that in the first year, we took several assessments and we learned about what areas matter most to you. And we also have been engaging in dialogues with many of you. These dialogues have been really interesting in terms of what we've been learning from them, learning from you about areas that still need to be addressed. So the formats of these communities of practice will be based on an active learning methodology and pedagogy. So rather than somewhat of the more passive webinars that we might see, online with different organizations really around the world nowadays with COVID. This is not meant to be a passive-based learning model, but more of an active learning model, an experiential learning model, where there's plenty of time for engagement, for takeaways, for discussion, for dialogue, and not just listening to presentations. They will be facilitated by technical experts and by project and program implementers and managers who are working on generating program knowledge right in the countries that are represented in the hub. So again, the format for the communities of practice will be regular engagement through a series of at least 3 online learning events happening in the next 1 to 2 months, as well as active learning pedagogies and methodologies. I want to take you briefly through the 4 different communities of practice that we are launching next month. So one of them is going to be in foundations of educational quality, strengthening our teaching, learning, and assessment practices and systems. The second one will be in gender and equity in education, transforming our systems, responses, and pedagogies to include all learners. And the third will be in early childhood care and education, strengthening our systems for our youngest learners. And the fourth community of practice will be in confronting the data challenge, strengthening our systems for innovative data usage and management. So this is a very brief overview. We will inform you later. Can I ask you to please mute your microphone, please? Hello, can I ask you to please mute? That's much better, thank you. So this was a very general overview of the 4 communities of practice that we're launching next month that will have a series of learning events associated with them under an active learning, experiential learning model, where you'll be working with other members, other countries who are opting into that community of practice. So we may have up to 18 members in each of the communities of practice, or we may have 15 if some members feel like they are ahead in one area and they don't need to join that particular community of practice. But we would love to have all 18 members joining each of the communities of practice. That's definitely an option for you. The focal points will be engaging with us. We will be asking them to assist with nominating members from the country teams to participate in the communities of practice. So a member to join the early childhood education community, a member to join the data management community, etc. So we will also be working with the focal points very soon to gain assistance in making sure that these communities of practice are maintaining relevance and applicability for your needs that you've already identified through various assessments. We will also be working with the focal points to make sure that there are some key takeaways from each of these sessions. Let me see if I can, could you mute yourself, please? Mohammed Raga, thank you. Thank you so much. And then finally, we'll be working with the focal points to make sure that there are key takeaways from the communities of practice that represent real learning and possibilities for implementation of the learning therein. So that is an overview of, that's the announcement of the communities of practice that we'll be launching next month. We will send out more information about them, and we will send out concept notes about them very soon. So you'll be hearing more about this, as well as the subtopics within each of the communities of practice, because obviously, if you take a look at any one of them, they're quite broad, and they're meant to be inclusive of the many areas within that you've identified that you want to focus more on. So for example, ECCE, developing policy for ECCE, or developing teachers' pedagogies for teaching our youngest learners, or qualifications for teachers. So these are some of the points that you've identified within these topics. So these will become separate, think of them like webinars or online learning events. So if there are any questions about the communities of practice right now, feel free to drop them into the chat box. We are going to move on to the next portion of this meeting, which is about the upcoming baseline assessment, which we are taking to mark the end of the project year 1 and the beginning of the second project year. And this will tell us more information about what's happening within the institutions that you are representing. We've noticed that in the direct dialogues that we've been having with many of you, and which are open invitation for others as well. So you have been invited. We've been inviting the focal points to have a dialogue with us. So if we haven't heard from you yet, we would love to hear from you in a reply to our email invitation. But in these direct dialogues, we've been hearing from countries that there's a lot happening in the institutional level, and what's happening within the ministries, who's using data, what's not been done. So we'd like to hear more from you in that area. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Yvonne to explain about this assessment. So over to you, Yvonne. Thank you. Yvonne, can you hear us?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Yvonne.
Oh, sorry, I think I had a hitch there, network hitch. Hello, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. I would like to take us through the survey tool. Both Marianne and Victoria have hinted as to why we are doing this survey again. So I'd like to share my screen if you don't mind, please. Okay, can we all see this thing?
We are yet to see it.
Yes, Yvonne, we see it.
Oh, thank you very much. So colleagues, as you've heard, we would like you to participate in this survey for the regional hub. And basically the purpose is to collect information on the current status of the KIX hub. We've had the project for 1 year, and mostly for year one, we were making connections, surveys about our needs assessment and all. And by now some things have changed, and we'd like to also get information in line with the intended project objectives before the specific interventions, which most of them now will be doing this year. And then this will yield to particular outcomes and results at the end of the project. So we'd like to have some information so that at the end of the project, when we are assessing our project, we're able to have a base on which we can compare with and whether we've made some strides or not. So this is going to be, we're going to ask some personal questions, like we'll ask you for your telephone contacts and name and your designation. Please feel free to fill. This is only for UNESCO internal use. There's nowhere where we will share this data with anyone outside of UNESCO. So I'll just like to briefly take us through the tool, just so we have a feel of what we're expected to fill. And then I will give us a few minutes, about 10 minutes or so, or 15, just to interact with the tool a little bit and see if we have any questions or any areas that are a bit troublesome or challenging that maybe we can clarify before we leave the meeting today. So as you can see, the first thing that comes there is we'll ask you the name of your country. Of course, you will pick, whether if you're from Eritrea, Ethiopia, Gambia, you'll just pick one. That is easy. Then we'll ask for your name. Kindly feel free to give us your name. It is for our own documentation and for KIX purposes only. And then also whether you're government or LEG, we'll also love to know that. So please give us whether you're government or of LG or LEG, please let us know. And then your designation. Are you the director of education? Are you the project officer of UNESCO or of UNICEF? Please feel free to give us that information also. And then we'll also love to know, to have your contact numbers and your email address. So for these two, some of them we have, some of them we don't. It will be good to also counter check what we have against what you give us. So please do not worry that we've always sent you emails. Please share with us your email again. And then we'll also love to know whether you're female or male, and most preferred channel of communication. So mostly we've been communicating through email, and sometimes, especially with this time, people are working from home. Sometimes it's not easy to access the email. So please tell us which one do you prefer. Would you prefer the email or the WhatsApp, or if there is any other means of communication? Also feel free to tell us, and also their age range, just so we know who are we dealing with. And then we'd like to know your interest. What will be your highest motivation for actively participating in KIX? Then please you give us 3 most important to you. So would you love to participate in KIX simply for you to access relevant and up-to-date information? Or is it, are you motivated by participating in learning spaces with others, like Marianne has just talked about, the coming series of learning spaces? Or is it for exchanging experiences with colleagues? I know we have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, which most of the time we do not have a way of managing. So you find that once you leave service, then the knowledge goes with you. So this is also a forum for you to be able to exchange knowledge and experiences and ensure that you pass it on to others. And also, are you looking to build joint initiatives with other members, even from other member countries? For example, you could have Kenya maybe wanting to do an ECC policy with South Sudan. So is that something that you'd like to have? So you give us whether that is your motivation also, please let us know. And then briefly just tell us what you think will be a barrier that may prevent you from fully participating in the KIX hub activities. So I know we've had some challenges in some areas, and the last year was different, this year is different. So what are you foreseeing as maybe a barrier that might prevent you from participating fully in KIX activities? Then section 2 will also look at what kind of experiences would you like to be shared in the KIX hub. So please, again, you give us, you select 3 most important to you. We know all these areas are important, but we'd like to know, according to you, as a representative of your country, which is the most important? You know your country better. Which is the most important experience that you would like shared? Is it in strengthening learning and assessment systems? Is it maybe last year you gave that as the strongest, but is it still the same? We have been given that we've also had a series of events for capacity building and knowledge exchange. So please tell us what kind of experience would you be looking at for this particular year and going forward? And also, out of the type of experiences that you are mentioning above, is there any other experience that you'd like us to concentrate on that is not among the ones that probably you have mentioned? Then in addition, are there any initial aligned initiatives aligned to the experiences in 2.2? So 2.2 is the one that I was talking about, the experiences that you would love to see being shared in Africa 19. So are there any initiatives aligned to that particular, those particular experiences that you've mentioned that your government or organization may have done in the past 1 year? So we've already had this program for a whole year. So we're also looking at, for the past 1 year, is there anything that has changed and what has changed? So please, if there's anything that your government has done or experiences in the last year and or is planning to do in the future, like we had, I think from Malawi, they're planning to have a digital repository like the one that KIX has. So is it something that you like to share with KIX Africa 19? Because this is a knowledge and exchange platform. So please, if there's something that the government has done or something that your government is planning to do that you will likely to share with us so that there's a learning platform, please also list that. And then we are looking at what are the most important topics in education that you think the hub should have in consideration for future activities or publications. Again, we have all this COVID and education, access, transition and graduation of school funding, teacher professional development, rural education, equity and inclusion. Again, please just select the 3 most important topics in education that you think the hub should concentrate on as per your country's needs, please. Then consider the topics that you have selected. What specific aspects? For instance, if you select that you want equity and inclusion in education, what specific aspect of equity and inclusion in education? Because this is a very wide area. We'd like you to tell us specifically what is it that you would want us to concentrate on. Then which formats and methodologies would you prefer for approaching knowledge generation and exchange? So again, we'd like your feedback on this. Would we want collaborative platforms or social networks, like we're talking of communities of practice, small social networks? Would like to have webinars with experts in those particular areas, or workshops, 4-hour workshop, 2-day workshop? You also let us know. Or is it newsletters that is your most preference? Monthly newsletter, quarterly newsletter? Please let us know. And then also we'd like to know what would be the ideal frequency for receiving updates and invitations that are related to KIX? Would you want us to be reaching out to you every 2 weeks, every 1 week, or on a monthly basis? And I also want to know the 3 people and the organizations with whom you discuss important education policy matters the most. So all of us here are doing something in a given area towards education. So we'd like to know, who are you talking to mostly? Who are you in discussions with mostly when it comes to important education policies in your area? So we'll the people that maybe we can also reach out to, because the forum is expected to provide knowledge and information to people even outside the 5 country representatives. So who are these people that even when we have open house invitations that we can extend the invitations to? So please let us know the other people apart from the 5 that you share the knowledge with. And then also, we also need to know their level of member engagement. So to what extent you engage with these people that you have listed? Is it to a great extent, like you consistently interact with them in a formalized and organized space, or is it only during ad hoc conferences, or you don't meet them at all?
Yvonne, we have
Yes.
about 10 minutes left. So if you'd
Yes,
like,
please.
maybe we can share the link and they can also start filling it out as they also see what you're speaking. Perhaps you could
Yes.
still keep explaining if you like, as they start filling out the first portion at least.
Yes, I've already shared the link. The link is
Oh,
there,
okay.
and I don't think the parts is very technical, so we can start filling the link, because the other area that I just wanted to talk about is the key spaces. We like to know the key spaces. Conferences or special committees that are formed to form these policies. Okay, so the link, maybe I wanted us to take the last, probably those 10 minutes, just to go through and try and fill and see whether this is something. It will only take about 10 to 15 minutes maximum. Is that okay?
Yvonne,
Can I stop sharing?
Yes, I've just posted the link one more time in the chat box, and I'm going to email it to all of the members who we have invited for this meeting today. I'll email it now, but colleagues, we ask you to please click on the link and take the next 10 minutes of this meeting to respond to the survey. Again, we know that there's been a lot of surveys, but we really do appreciate your responses because they are helping us to improve the hub. And if you have any questions, please post them into the chat box, or you can raise your hand and we will address them. So we have one question from Clarice from Nigeria asking, can it be filled later, please? Clarice, when you fill it, whether now or later on, is up to you. This time in the meeting today has been allocated for this, so there are still 6 minutes left. But we understand that if you need to go, you're welcome to do so. The link has been shared, and we will also be emailed to you. And we just ask that you fill it out. Yvonne will tell us the deadline for it. But if you have to go, that's also fine. But you can ask questions right now in the chat box or by raising your hand. And Yvonne, how long do they have to fill out this survey?
We're looking at almost 3 weeks.
Okay.
Just trying to look at. So we're looking at the second week of May. By 14th, we should have all the responses back by 14th. I hope that is clear. By 14th, we should have all the responses back. But it's something that only takes 10 minutes.
Yvonne, there is a very interesting question for you. That should
Yes.
it be filled by the point, or it can be done by any relevant stakeholder.
Thank you. That's a very pertinent question. This should be filled by the country focal points and there are 4 representatives from the country. So the total of the 5 country representatives.
So you want all the 5 to fill it, right?
Yes, all the 5 to fill it. Because all the 5, they're from different, you find someone is from ECCE, the other one is from data, the other one is from gender management. So we want to know the 5 people that this person is interacting with when it comes and discussing policy matters with. So yes, the 5 country representatives, all of them from each country.
So for clarity, you want each individual among the 5 to fill in the tool?
Yes.
Okay.
There is
and
a
then
question
our colleague from, sorry.
Everyone who's in this meeting today can fill it out because we have invited all of the team members from so everyone in this meeting is invited to fill it out.
There was a quick one. There was a quick one, I think, like from Zimbabwe, just in case the person doesn't know the other 5. What happened?
Marianne, you can share with the Zimbabwe team, or can we share the screen now? But I think the time is not on our side.
Right. Well, what we can do is that when I send out this email today, instead of sending out one general email, I will send out an individual email to each country, and I will address it to the individuals who are to take it. And these will be the 5 team members. And now there's a question from Martha about the criteria to nominate the 5. Martha, I'm so sorry, but could you remind me which country you're calling in from today? Hello, Martha. Could you write it in the chat box or else unmute? Which country are you representing? We know that some countries have not formed their teams yet, but the majority of countries already have their 5 country representatives. And they were nominated on through a process of the GPE focal point and the KIX focal point working together to find 5 officials who are representing different areas in the thematic priorities. So early childhood care and education, for example, curriculum development, data management. So these are and these are generally a 2-year commitment to take part in the KIX project and to represent KIX at their respective ministries or local education groups. So that's the general criteria. I'm not sure if your country has all 5 members yet, because there are a couple of countries that have not nominated 5 members yet.
Marianne, I think she's from Kenya.
Okay, Kenya already has a team in place of 5 representatives.
And Martha is a GPE focal point, as far as I know, for Kenya. So we just encourage you to get in touch with our focal point there for the KIX Hub.
It's Anne Ngatia.
Yes, Anne Ngatia from the ministry. And then you will know the other team members. But we are happy to have you around this time, Martha. Thank you very much for joining us. Yeah.
Keba, your question, can the country representatives consult to be on the same level on the stage? I'm not quite sure I understand. Could you please unmute or else rephrase your question in the chat box, Keba?
Okay, I think as we're waiting for a colleague to rephrase the question, there's another one from Mabu from South Sudan. And I think it's a concern that filling in the form by the 5 country representatives will give wrong information about the country priorities. I don't know what colleagues suggest should be done to ensure that we have coherence in the information.
Yes, that's a really interesting question. And I know that I'm, in fact, if Yvonne, if you would rather answer, I don't want to be answering every question. My immediate thoughts on this are that the answers we get about the priorities depend a lot on who's already in the country teams. Even during the direct dialogues, you know, when we're asking what are the priorities again, we're getting a lot of priorities from those who are in the room at the time. However, in a way, those are the people who will be leading change in the country, who are represented in the KIX team. So it's not necessarily an issue that the people who are leading the KIX project and leading change are also the ones who are focused on specialized areas, and that those are their priorities, and then they represent that as the country's priorities, because the team has been made up of people who are involved in key priority areas already. So the country's priorities will not be lost or forgotten. There will be a chance for the top priorities to be represented. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, Miriam, if I can also just clarify, I feel where the team is coming from, and it's possible to have the team position and give their priorities. Mm-hmm. The only aspect that will require each and every person to give their position is when it comes to the people that they're discussing policy reforms with. Because like I said earlier, we have people in the ECCE representing ECCE, we have others representing gender, we have others teaching and learning, I think from the Ministry of what do you call it? Data and information. So these people relate with different people. It's not the same. The person from data does not necessarily discuss policy issues with the person from ECCE. So that is the only area that will give different answers. But otherwise, when it comes to country priorities and needs, it should, if the country can, if they can answer as one, that is still okay. I hope I'm clear on that.
Yes, Yvonne, that's fine. Yvonne, I think that would be great if we put that in the email to countries right after this meeting.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Marianne. What I was asking is, because we started at different times to be part of to be actively in the hub, I was asking, can we consult like one another, like to be led by the country focal point, so that when we are filling this form, although we will fill it at our respective organizational level or individual organization, but we just want to know, because we don't want to go out of the priority area of the ministry. Of course, consultation is happening between us, but we just want to know if we can further that one, then present or have a common position.
Yes, Keba, I think this sounds like, oh, sorry, I think my sound is a little bit off. Keba, I think that's keen. I think that's an apt point. Feel free to proceed with that. That sounds like it's a good idea. We know that some country members joined a little bit after the other ones, so I think it's important that you do what makes most sense to you. As long as we receive one response, at least one response per member country, that would be wonderful. So I think it has to make sense to you as well, because you are the hub, and you are the ones who are we're doing this for you. So please proceed if that is your strategy. That sounds all right. And we're going to email everyone with further instructions on this in the link after this meeting. We know that the time has expired now. It is past the 45-minute mark. So unless there are more points or questions, we might want to start wrapping it up. Any more points, Yvonne or Victoria or Joy, that need to be said before we start to, or Jaji as well? I see that we have African Union with us.
Yeah, we also have Joy and online, so they can probably give their perspectives. Any thoughts?
Okay, Miriam, I just wanted to say that I can see majority of the team members are for the idea that they only fill this as one form as a whole team, which I said is okay, because most of that information should actually tally. The only part that I said each member should bring their contribution is the people that they discuss the pertinent policy issues with. Unless the whole country, the different departments, because most of the time they're represented by different departments, unless the different departments are all come together in one particular discussion to discuss policies, whether it's in ECCE or in gender or in the other areas, then that's okay in ICT. But yes, they can discuss as a group and then give us feedback as a group, and we'd really appreciate that.
Yes, Yvonne, that's great. I think that's clear, and we'll of course reinforce this in the email directly after this meeting from us. So stay tuned. And again, we really do thank you for your time. We know that you know, it is extra commitment to come to the hub and to take part here. So we really do appreciate the time that you take, and your responses very, very, very much shape the way that we think and the way that we work here. So we read every single one. So I think then we can, oh, Joy has a question about the communities of practice. Joy, we're going to launch them in May, next month. We will share a calendar. There was a point that someone raised, a very good point in the Country Pulse survey about having a calendar with the activities, and that is on our agenda as well. So we'll have a calendar and we'll share that very soon. We're just working on getting a few TORs together for the agenda, but we'll share a calendar soon.
And Marianne, there is one from Tesfaye in Eritrea, yes, that they have internet issues. What do they do? Do they fill in a hard copy format, or what happens?
Okay, Tesfaye, is this issue, is it just a recent one, or is it something that you suspect will last for the next 3 weeks? Because there is up to 3 weeks to do this. So it's not like it has to be done today or this week. Or is it just a general problem?
In fact, good afternoon, everyone. That's a general problem. They don't have any internet access in their offices most of the time. I reach them going there and explaining them through hard copies. So that might be difficult for them to fill the questionnaire online. So the best option might be consulting them and receiving some feedback and compiling all together in one questionnaire. That's my suggestion. Thank you so much. Over.
Okay, thank you for that, Tesfaye. We will definitely accommodate that. We don't want anyone to not have access because of a situation that's out of our control. So absolutely, we will make it accessible to you. We'll follow up via email with you. Is that all right?
Thank you. Right. Thank you so much.
So colleagues, the meeting has come to a close. Again, we really do appreciate your time, and we do know that you're busy. So thank you very much for being here today, and we'll follow up via email to you with this questionnaire. And if you have any further questions, please do let us know. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Marianne. I really appreciate you and Yvonne for the clarifications, and to all colleagues, wishing you a wonderful, beautiful day and evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very
Hi.
much.
Thank you, Mr. Zimpita. Good to see you again.
Hi.
It's a pleasure. My apologies. I joined late. I had internet problem.
Oh,
you.
sorry.
It's okay, no problem.
Mm.
Yvonne, if you can stay back for a moment, we'll just talk about the follow-up. Bezawit, you too?
Okay, Maria.
Thank you.
Do I also stay when I leave?
I just have one question for you. I know you've
Okay.
had a very long day, Victoria. Lots of
Oh my
meetings.
God. Yeah, I think this is my 7th meeting or 6th meeting, I can't remember. Until I've stopped thinking, I'm like, okay, yeah, but I'm coping whatsoever.
There, I've removed the last few members who were there. Victoria, I wanted to ask you about Testface's point about the internet. I wasn't able to hear him very well because it seemed like it was very low volume. Did he say that he needed to have a printed out version that we would mail to him? I wasn't quite clear on that point.
I think because it's internet in Eritrea is always a problem. It has been on all the time. They don't have that connectivity. It is on and off sometimes. But I was thinking that giving him a soft copy version or a Word version of the same, and we get all the information that we need, can help. And then maybe we can fill it in on their behalf on the system. That would also be an option, because they always struggle with the internet connectivity there. Alternatively, it would be probably Testify helps to coordinate getting data from the counterparts, and him being at UNICEF, he can fill it in using the connectivity at UNICEF. That's also the other challenge.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense then. So Yvonne and Bezawit actually, because you made the form in the platform. Oh, someone's joining late, I'm afraid. Uh-oh. Oh. Is that Adam? Is that the name?
Yeah, this is Adam from Somalia.
Yes, hello, Adam. I'm afraid the
Hi.
meeting has just ended. Are you just
Yeah,
trying to join us in?
Yeah, I was just receiving the email. Sorry for the late.
Okay. Oh, that's too bad.
Sorry.
I'm sorry to miss the meeting.
That's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe just brief him with what we discussed quickly.
Please.
Sure. Well, I have my PowerPoint up still, so I could in fact just show that to you very quickly. I'll just take 2 minutes to show you very briefly what we discussed. We had so Adam, we had a meeting today on assessments and updates. Okay. We reviewed some of the feedback that we have been receiving from countries, and we appreciate all the surveys that you have been taking, because it's been guiding the work that we do. We're about to launch a learning capacity building series starting next month called Communities of Practice, and there will be 4 of them in 4 key thematic areas. And the format of these will be like a network where you come take part in like sort of like webinars that are based on an active learning model. So not just sitting and listening to people speak, but speaking
It's
yourself,
4 o'clock.
taking part in a discussion room. And the 4 different areas are educational quality, so teaching and learning and assessment, gender equity, early childhood education, and the data challenge, so data usage and management. So those are the 4 areas, and we're going to be sending more information about all of this to everybody very soon. So, but they'll be launched in May, and there will be a series of webinars related to each of these.
Thank you.
That's about it. And then we're also taking part, asking you to take part in a survey to tell us some more information about the kind of work that you do at the ministry level. So Yvonne could perhaps say a word about that briefly.
Actually, we'll be very happy to join the assessment, and we'll glad to contribute, and as a country team, we will be available to contribute our efforts to the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. That's really great, really encouraging.
Absolutely. And we respect how much effort you are putting to the knowledge in exchange is important to our country and to all of African people. Thank you very much.
So what you're seeing now, Adam, is what the survey looks like. This is a survey that we're asking you to take. It should only take about 10 minutes, 15 minutes to fill out within the next 2 weeks. And I'm dropping the link into the chat box right now. So if you look at the chat box, you can see the link that is also on your screen.
Yeah, I've seen the chat box.
Excellent, thank you.
Yes, and then we'd like the input from all the 5 country members. And from the discussions today, it seems that the entire team prefers that we get one channel of communication, so that you organize your own team in your own country, you fill the survey, and then you send us the response as a team. Because the feeling was that maybe there might be a difference in priority areas when each country member feels separately. So you organize the team in your country, you fill the survey, and then you send us back the information.
So each country, there will be one just survey to be complete as a whole team, or each and every individual can separately fill in the form and submit it, which is which.
Okay, the idea is that you fill it separately, that is individually among the 5 of the 5 representatives that each representative fills. I'm just pointing out that there are some countries during this particular meeting that have preferred they fill as a team. So what works for you?
We will.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Adam, that's everything from our side is those 2 points. The launch of the capacity building, which will start next month, and the taking the survey, working with your focal point on whether there's going to be one collective response or a variety of responses. And the focal point will, as Yvonne said, will organize that. So that's it from our side. Did you have any questions about anything?
No, I don't have. Thank you very much. I appreciate how much effort you gave to me. For the minute the meeting ended, then you gave me a chance to catch up. Thank you very much.
Of course, no problem. So take care and have a great rest of the day. It must be, what time is it there? Is it 2 p.m. or is it 3 p.m.?
It's 4 p.m.
Oh, sorry. My hours are all over the place. It's 8 a.m. where I am. So,
okay. Good morning.
good afternoon to you, almost evening. So, but thank you for being here, Adam. Take care. Okay. And I think it's time for us all to, I just want to have a quick word with Yvonne, but I think Victoria, it's been a long day for you.
Yeah.
I will. Bye-bye.
Bye, Adam. Thank you.
Bye.
So Yvonne, would you like to send the email out to everyone? If I can give you the list of how would you like to do this? Would you like to send the email or would you like me to?
Hi, Marianne. That question is addressed to me, I suppose.
Yes.
Sorry, my internet is crazy today. Please send the email. Like I told you, I have this emergency that I have to attend to. So right now I'm just, I need to start running around.
Okay.
Tomorrow my day starts at 3 a.m. So yeah, if you don't mind.
No, I'll send it. I'll send it. And I'll let the focal points decide how they would like to to do it. I think what I'll do is I'll send the email to the focal points. Yeah, I'll figure it out. You have
Yes.
to get going. I'll figure it out.
You remember initially we were for the focal points, but then when we asked Sehi, he insisted that all the 5 have to do. But you see, when it comes to the whole 5 of them doing it, it's a bit challenging. And that's what we thought in the first place. But he said that all the 5 have to do it. So just send an email to them and let them decide on whether they're going to the group or individual.
I actually like the idea of the focal points doing it, because they're starting to take ownership now, like that they will represent, they'll organize their responses, which I kind of like that, because that's a good sign for us. My only issue is that maybe there are some focal points that are not as engaged as certain members of their team, but this could be a chance for them to start being a bit more present. So I think it's actually a good thing that they brought this up, and let them take ownership over it. Let them organize their team and produce one response. So it could be really good. Yeah, but thank you. I'll send out an email today. Thanks, Yvonne. And again, we're sorry about your loss.
Thank you.
Please take your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Yvonne, all the best.
Hello.
Pole sana.
Marian,
Tutakuombea.
Asante, Victoria. Thank you for your support.
You're welcome.
Hello,
Sorry, I
Mary.
spoke a bit of Swahili.
Excuse me.
I know.
Did you finish? I just came back from the other training. This is still recording. Shall I stop it?
Oh,
Enoch,
yes, please,
Enoch,
please
Enoch.
stop it. It's been recording everything.
Okay, yeah.
Enoch, you owe
Yeah.
me.
Huh?
You owe me.